James Kemp is joining us virtually, I understand. Delegate Kemp, are you available? Good morning.
Morning. Go right ahead. Good morning, Madam
Please proceed.
Chairperson.
Thank you.
Members of the Public Health Committee, thank you for taking the time to hear from me today. I come before you to speak regarding the 2023 Community Heat Response Plan, BOH 23019, and how the needs of people with disabilities have not been recognized or considered in its preparation. Extreme heat conditions can cause great stress on the body. It is hard for a person in perfect health with no pre-existing conditions to manage. For people with disabilities, it is often a struggle to survive. Most people think about those with breathing conditions, but it affects so many more. Constrain heart function, cause joints to swell, impair organ function, interfere with internal body chemistry, induce severe dehydration, as well as mental and physical exhaustion. And those are just a few of the physiological symptoms. What it does to the mind is another matter. It is impossible for me to understand and be able to explain the issues that arise for people with various mental, emotional, intellectual, and developmental disabilities, but we must consider them if we're to address the needs of the most vulnerable. Air conditioning in some form is required for living comfortably through these times, but until higher forms of government ensure it's available for all, we must find ways to alleviate the suffering during heat events. The city has come up with various strategies like cooling rooms, open swims, extended library hours, splash pads, and so on, but is only a temporary respite from the unbearable heat. There is also a number of issues that need to be addressed. For example, if a person with a disability wanted to access one of the community pools or the local library during heat event, how will they get there when they have to call DARTs a week in advance? Cooling areas are often unused rooms in basements of apartment buildings. These rooms are often available because the room is unsuitable for anything. The one in my building is a dark, smelly place with a few folding chairs strewn about, but nobody would want to go there if they could avoid it. All this assumes that the individual is mobile and independent enough to help themselves. I have watched what I can with the Seniors Advisory Committee's work with the city on developing strategies to assist seniors in the community, and it's all excellent. While people with disabilities have similar issues, we have our own challenges, and it's not one size fits all. ODSP, as was mentioned, uses a special supports program alluded to in the report as an OW program to provide air conditioners to people that can't afford them. But they've narrowed the allowable conditions so much that only the most severe breathing issues are being considered. It is nearly impossible to get funding through this program. Air conditioning needs to be considered as essential as heat, especially for those so disadvantaged as to be unable to afford it. The buddy system also has great merit, but is more conducive to seniors' buildings as a form of community. The only dedicated residents for people with disabilities are residential care facilities, and I will come back to that in a moment. If people with disabilities are spread all over the place, the buddy system is not likely to be of much use. Dedicating advertising and education programs for people with disabilities might be an option to explore. Having a list of at-risk individuals means people could deliver water and maybe a bag of ice to those in the greatest need. We also must look at other things we can do to provide relief. There's a lot of focus on ACs, but they're expensive. The city could do a lot more for its money if they at least provided some decent fans to provide some better relief than what is available at a dollar store. Now back to the RCFs. Are they all air conditioned yet? Are there plans in place to provide targeted relief during heat events? Along with delivering extra water to the downtown core, could there be an effort to assist those facilities that aren't air conditioned? More work needs to be done on this file to ensure those unable to speak for themselves are cared for. I don't expect any answer to these questions today. This is a process as we learn how to adapt to life in the Anthropocene age, but I wanted to come and highlight the lack of consideration or mention of the needs for persons with disabilities as a glaring omission. We don't expect change overnight, but we would like to see steady progress towards those ends, no matter how small. We look forward to discussing these issues with city staff in more detail soon, and hopefully we'll have a framework in place for the next version of the heat response plan. Thank you all for your time and attention.
Thank you, Delegate Kemp. Any questions? Councillor Taddison.
I'd just like to thank James for your delegation. Lots to think about in terms of our heat emergency protocols and people with disabilities. I know you came up with a lot of suggestions and so forth, but what do you think is the first step that the City of Hamilton needs to make?
I think that the best thing that they could do immediately is come up with some sort of most vulnerable list. At least put out the word that people can put themselves on a list. That in these heat emergencies, people can come and look at them and or look after them or check in on them and make sure that they're okay, that they have what they need. A lot like what the seniors have started to develop as well.
Thank you very much, James. No more questions.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further questions? Thank you to the delegate.
Thank you very much.